Hello, 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 and welcome to United Weekly, a podcast brought to you by DC United Latest. I'm Santiago. This is Olson, and episode 5. I feel like we keep going through each episode and be like, "Wow, it's been a while."
Yeah,
And
been
episode
5 weeks
5,
of DC, been 5 weeks of United Weekly already.
5 weeks of United Weekly. It's gone by
Yes,
really
sir.
quick. I'm not gonna lie.
It has, yeah.
Really quick. Well, today we have a very exciting episode for you guys today. I know the big part is we have ex DC United defender Tony Alfaro joining us today. But first, we're going to be going into more of the match recap of the New England Revolution game versus DC United at Gillette Stadium. But before we get into that, Olsen, how are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. Again, kind of like you said, we've been moving pretty fast already to episode 5. Can you believe that?
I cannot believe it. To be honest, we've worked so hard to get this out, and then now that it's out, it's gone by so quick.
I know.
It's gone by so quick, and like I always say, Olsen and I were new to this, so please be patient with us. We're trying our best to give you guys the best content, give you guys the best podcast possible, and we're looking for you guys' feedback. So positive, negative, reinforcement, anything, please let us know in the comments or send us a DM to either the United Weekly _podcast Instagram or the DC United Latest Instagram. Why not? Let's get into it. New England Revolution versus DC United. Olsen, do you want to get us started on that?
Yeah, as most of y'all know, DC lost 2-0 to no surprise. We looked good for a little while, but typical DC, they'll play good and then they'll just turn off the last part of the match. Exactly what they did.
Yeah,
they had a few good chances up front, I think. So in the first half, I believe Kojima had a chance that was saved by Turner. Stroud also had a good chance when he was subbed on.
mm-hmm. And then Pirani had a good shot as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I mean, plenty of chances, but you can't put it away. That's kind of how it's been this season. And then you give up 2 silly goals, and that was that.
Yeah, it's sad because we kind of expected the loss, but we wanted the win, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, you saw in the first half. I'd say we controlled the first half pretty well. I mean, it was a scoreless first half, but we still we were, I guess you could say, the better team. Not overly better, but we still controlled the game and.
Yeah, I definitely think we controlled the game, especially at the beginning. I definitely like one thing Olsen and I always talk while we text or talk whenever the games are going on. And I told him as soon as I saw when Stroud came on, I saw kind of, when we talked about Benteke being hungry and having, what game was that? Was that Charlotte? No, it wasn't Charlotte.
Maybe Galaxy?
Galaxy. That was Galaxy, yeah. You're right. It was Galaxy. That's what I kind of saw from Stroud this game as soon as he came on. I saw that hunger, and then he was able to get that good shot off. Oh, and then on top of that, Mati Peltola had a chance in there too. Very rare to see him shoot, but definitely, I feel like Mati Peltola definitely needs to start shooting more. I feel like he can score goals for us if he works on that.
I feel like he'd be that kind of guy to just score a banger from 30 yards out.
Yeah, I feel like, and he does it so nonchalant. Yeah. Like, did you see the way he just controlled the ball, went to the left past the defender, faked the other defender out, and then shot it? And I think, did the keeper save it? I don't know if the keeper saved it or he missed the goal, but still, I feel like Mati could just score a banger from wherever he wants.
You gotta try.
Gotta
take your chances, especially when team's not doing anything else valuable.
Exactly. No, and I think that's what we need. I think that's what we've started to see a little bit more with this game. We've seen more players attacking the ball, maybe.
That's what I didn't notice. We had more of a desire, I guess, to go forward.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about it in the last episode or I think not last episode, but when we were talking about the Austin FC match.
Yeah.
We were mentioning how we were sitting so deep and teams did not want to go forward, and we saw, I guess, a little bit better of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Revolution. You saw that they at least tried. They tried to make an attacking play.
Definitely a better game in terms of what we saw from the players in this game than we did with the last game. and like our interim head coach, he can only do so much.
Yeah.
But and again, he's not he we for DC United fans, like yes, we're done, but count the season out. The season is done. Let's
Mm-hmm.
we're not really there's no we're not winning the game. We're not going to the playoffs. We're not winning the MLS Cup this season. We're right now our focus is on next season, and I think I can speak for Olsen. That's what we're focusing on as well, in terms of like what we're expecting. So we're expecting bigger things from next season, but this season,
Yeah.
that's why, like I said, I expected a loss, but I wanted a win because I always wanted to
Yeah.
see United win. But yeah, definitely a disappointing match. One thing we got to talk about here is we talked about this. What was it? The first episode. I think it was a question on United Chat where what is the most overrated player? I think, or the most what was the player who had the most hype and didn't live up to the expectations? We had that type of question,
Yeah.
right?
I do
And
remember that.
and I don't know if you remember my answer, but I said June.
Yes,
And
I
for
remember. Yeah.
me, yeah, for me, we've always talked about how we want June to succeed. We
Mm-hmm.
like he has the potential. We like that. What we like what his highlights from his previous team. But I'm just not seeing that here. He's just making mistakes. He's getting scored on too
Yeah.
easily.
Even the commentators on the broadcast mentioned he does not look confident in
No,
that goal.
and I don't know if it's because he doesn't speak the language. I don't know if it's because he doesn't speak the language. He's not confident in like being a team leader
Mm-hmm.
aspect, which I feel bad for him because it's tough. You know, it's tough going to a new country
Yeah.
he's now 22. He just turned 22. And, you know, you have to learn a new language. And it's tough because you don't know anything that's going on around you. I think he has a translator that follows him around, right? I don't know if it's like a translator. I think it's like his coach, I don't know. He's always next to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's tough. It's tough to be a goalkeeper who doesn't speak the language that you can communicate with your defenders, right? And I saw little snippets of like him being pumped up and wanting to win this game, but I think in terms of June, you can. I'm gonna let you talk about this, but I think in terms of June, I think we just got to give it more time, give him more time to develop with the goalkeeper core.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you? Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is just let him develop. We talked about it. We've talked about it previously. Like he sort of got hyped up, I guess, brought to a spot of pressure very quickly.
Yeah.
On having to lead the team and whatnot, be the starting goalkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
All this hype that was built around him from Troy and the club.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you saw that, like you said, he had that desire sometimes, but if you want to be, you know, a team's number one goalkeeper, you got to see that consistently through the whole match, right?
Yeah, no,
And
definitely.
you saw moments where he was like tense and sort of, I guess he doesn't look confident. Like I said, the commentators mentioned it, and I noticed it too. Like when the commentators mention it, you know, it's
yeah, especially in that one moment where the shot was brought up to I think right to his hands, and it literally bounced through his hands.
Yeah, it bounced. I thought it was gonna bounce in, and it like bounced
It was like
back.
spinning. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a scary situation because that would have been really bad for him. Especially because we know Rene Weiler's watching, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what Rene Weiler sees is he's seeing this player who doesn't seem confident, who was bought, where DC United paid a good amount. I don't think he was very cheap in terms of transfer fee, right? But you know, you want to see him succeed, especially because of the young talent, and he could have the potential to be the goalkeeper for DC United for many years, right? But you know, with time, I think hopefully he'll work out. As much as I think I really want it to work out. I really want June to work out.
I think
he's good.
I still see the potential.
Yeah,
we saw it, you know, sort of that beginner's luck, I guess, but you saw it in the first few games of the season. He was making good saves.
Yeah,
all around. He was always hype, you know, and I can see him living up to that potential and being even better. But it's like we both said, give him time to develop. You know, obviously help him learn the language as well. Give him time to learn the language so he can become a team leader and you know whatnot. because a goalkeeper, you got to yell at your team. You got to
Exactly.
because goalkeeper, you have the best vision of the field.
Mm-hmm.
So you've always got to make sure your defenders are always staying in the line, and if somebody's open, you gotta tell them like, hey, this guy is open on the back post or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he's just like you said with the language thing. It's just you can't really say that. You might like maybe you can say hey, like, but like it's not as easy to communicate with your back line, especially if you can't speak the language, the native language that they speak, or that the rest of the team speaks. But what's it called? Talking about the overhype, I think Troy, in terms of made that pressure too much for him, because I think Troy, like we've talked about this before, but Troy in those pre-season interviews that he was talking about June being great and solid in practice, right? And hyping him up and making him the number one goalkeeper, giving him the number one, the number one.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot for a kid, especially who's just coming into the league. Different style of play. Yes, he's a goalkeeper, but still, doesn't speak the native language of the team. It's tough, right? So I wish Troy wouldn't have overhyped him as much. I think what I would have done with Troy, I think we've talked about this, is put Barasa in. I would have even put Jordan Farr in. I would have put Jordan Farr, like one of those two, over June, to let June develop and practice with the team and kind of fight for that position.
Yeah, it's like I'm sure. I mean, if he was, could have been the best player in practice, but still, you just give it to him.
Yeah,
you haven't seen him play. You haven't seen him play in a game yet.
Yeah, because the goalkeeper can be at practice. He could be the best goalkeeper Troy's ever seen.
Yeah,
but it's a game scenarios. Game scenarios is completely different from practice scenarios.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely Barasa is the best option for us as of right now. Game tested veteran, MLS, has been in the MLS since he was drafted to New York, I believe. So I say keep Barasa in for now, and we'll see. But one thing I do want to talk about, I'm not sure if a lot of people know, but there was an exclusive invitation sent out to some fans, some season ticket members, some members of the press, some supporter section members, where it was an unveiling of Renee Weiler and an exclusive meet and greet with Renee Weiler, where there was Dave Johnson, all the owners, not all the owners, but a lot of the owners, the investors were there, and team and people from the press, as well as like corporate in terms of like head of marketing for DC United, front office stuff, right? And guess who was there, Olsen? I mean, you already know who was there, but Mr. Jason Levine, the hated owner of DC United.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I saw him, I'm going to talk a little bit about this because I think you guys should know. The way that they started talking before they introduced Jason Levine, they actually applauded him because they applauded him for his efforts and for his accomplishment with Audi Field. And they talked about the history of DC United and how DC United and how he and Jason, or how Levine was able to build a stadium in DC, and how it wasn't going to be done, but he did it. And in my head, I'm thinking, I was able to attend this event. In my head, I'm thinking, why are we talking about the stadium here? Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about, first off, let's talk about the coach, where they did, but main point should be talking about the coach and what we're gonna do to help this coach succeed. And one thing a quote that Levine said that stood out to me is that he said, and I quote, "We are prepared to give Renee Weiler the ammunition that he needs for this team to have success." Now, as much as you want to believe that, also, I don't know about you, but there's not much. I don't really believe that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not going to believe it till I see it.
Exactly, because he could. Where has it been, right? And I had these questions. I was able to I was able to talk to I was able to have a conversation, a one-on-one conversation with the owner, where he told me about how Troy Lesane actually didn't want to spend money on players, and he preferred more of the lower level, hardworking players to be on the team. So he preferred more of USL players that work their butt off to make a team. For example, Jordan Farr was on USL. I believe he won. He was in the USL. He won Goalkeeper of the Year, and now he's on DC United. Right now, Jordan Farr, Troy Lesane, that's your best signing of the year. Jordan Farr is great, and we've already talked about him. He's great on the field, great player, great person. Shout out you, Jordan Farr. Thank you for liking our story and watching the podcast, by the way. But he talked about how Troy Lesane was the reason why they didn't spend money on players. And I'm down here thinking, I was like, do I really believe this guy? Or do
it feels kind of hard to believe.
It's hard to believe.
Yeah.
Like, I want to believe him,
Mm-hmm.
but
yeah,
it's hard to believe.
It is, yeah.
Because I feel like Troy, if he was given the opportunity, he would have bought higher caliber players. Right? But if he wasn't given the money, then because like Troy knew his job was on the line at some point, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Spend some money, make some signings. But if he wasn't given that money, which I don't believe he was given money like that to buy players, then I don't know. So take that with the grain of, I think it's, what's the word? Take that with a grain of salt or mountain of salt. I don't know what it's called. I don't know what that.
I think it's grain of salt.
Grain of salt. But that's what Jason Levine told me. Another thing that he said that I kind of believe a little bit more is he talked to me about the Fidel Barejas, how Troy didn't actually want to play him, and that turns out to be the reasoning why Fidel Barejas is because Troy he didn't fit in Troy's system, and that's what his reasoning. He was like, I'd prefer to put he saw more of hard work and effort coming from Baji, but not as much talent. Like, Barejas had more talent, but there was more effort in Baji. So I kind of see that. I mean, if Fidel Barejas is a great player, but he's not giving you effort, then I don't know. Like, I'd rather put in a player who's...
Yeah. It's hard to, I guess, sort of decide that from our standpoints.
Yeah. And it's just, I'm sorry if I'm not sounding like clear. I'm trying to do this from memory from what we talked about. But he definitely, he told me, he was talking about how Troy didn't want to play those players like Randall Leal. He told me that from Nashville, he was a DP from Nashville, and that he didn't want to play Randall Leal because he didn't fit in a system. He didn't want to play Fidel Barejas because he didn't fit in a system. And then who else did he talk about? He didn't want to play. Who was it? I don't remember, but I don't remember. But he also talked to me how he he just didn't want to play players that didn't fit in a system, and he just wouldn't put them on. And we saw that with Fidel Barejas. Levine seemed to actually be really upset that we lost Barejas in that sense, because he knew he was a great player and we could have used him more. But
yeah, we talked about that on previous episodes.
Yeah. But yeah, that's basically how the meeting went. I wasn't able to chat with Rene Weiler because he actually didn't even speak at that event. He didn't say a single word to the public. He did shake some hands and talk to some people. I wasn't able to talk to him because he actually did end up, the event was from 6 to 8, but Rene Weiler left at like 7:15, and everything didn't start until like 6:30. So I don't know. He wasn't there for much for that long. So, that was a little disappointing. I wanted to get an insider scoop, if you could say, of like what his plans were. But another thing that Levine said, he told me and reassured me that he wants to spend money on the roster. and that's in quote. He said, "Spend money on the roster."
Let's hope he does. I mean,
let's hope he does. Yeah,
that's how this is the kind of like I said earlier. Not going to believe it till I see it.
exactly.
With how everything's been going recently.
Yeah, it's just tough. Like this guy either needs to get out or open his checkbook and actually start being a real owner that cares, you know? Because the things that they were talking about were about like stadium stuff. Like the stadium is fine.
Yeah,
let's win some championships first and then let's put a roof on a stadium.
Yeah.
Like the stadium we could just be playing like I will sit there on a lawn chair if I have to, like with no stadium. As long as this team wins a championship, I don't care what the stadium looks like. Like I don't care about the fancy stadium. I don't care about the stuff. I want to win a championship, because at the end of the day, this is the badge that the supporters love, and we support this team no matter what. So let's win a championship and let's stop focusing on the stadium.
Yeah, it's focus on the success of the team before anything, you know, I guess materialistic.
Yeah. Focus on the players. Focus on the coaching staff. Focus on the development of the future talent.
Yeah, create a team and a culture that's taken seriously by the league.
Boom. Put that on a t-shirt right there. Also, when you just said that right there is a quote right there. Stop caring about the corporate crap and start focusing on the game.
Like, yeah, you know, with the way things, you know, he sounds and everything goes, he's more of a businessman than a sports team owner.
Yeah, and that's they talked about how a person like Jason couldn't get in this position without being like some sort of salesman, right? And I was like, okay, fine, you can be a businessman. I've been saying since the beginning, we get it. To be an owner, you need to make money, because if you're not making money, then you're not going to be in this. But you can still make money and win.
You can focus on everything at once.
Exactly. You can make more money if you win.
Yeah.
And it's just bad. It's just bad. Oh, another thing. I actually talked. You're gonna find this funny. I found the creator of the famous $1 hot dogs.
Really?
Yes. The creator, not the creator, but like the person who made that, the head of marketing for DC United is the person who created the $1 hot dogs. And she was just talking to me about how they know about sell the team stuff. They know everything. And then she even said a joke where if she got like $1 every single time hashtag sell the team was like commented, she'd be a billionaire. And I mean, that's true. If you look at DC United's comment section, there's no positivity in there, right? Like it's even like by looking at Olsen's face right there, that reaction, that should just tell us.
Yeah, every single it's like, you know, you see it posting like Instagram and you see like 700 like, and there'll be like 100 comments just shitting on the whole team.
Shitting on the team, bro. It's bad.
I mean, rightfully so. I mean,
yeah. And you know, we've talked about this so much. Olsen, is the coach gonna change everything?
Not everything. Never gonna. You can't change everything.
Can't change everything. Owner can.
It's like we said. It starts with the ownership. The coaching and players, they can improve the team, right?
Yeah.
But the core goes all the way to the top, which
to the front office,
the ownership, front office.
You know, and I don't know if I doubt the owners are watching, right? Because why would an owner watch a small podcast like this? But if you're watching this, like we said before, sell the team, get your cut, get out, and put in a person that actually cares about this team.
Either sell the team or open the checkbook.
Sell the team or open the checkbook. That's it.
Yeah, that's really all it comes down to.
Mm-hmm. And it's Olsen, you have anything else you want to say about that?
I mean, Yeah, took the words right out of my mouth. We both were literally thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Sell the team or open the checkbook. That's the same thing. All I gotta say.
You know what? Let's make that a T-shirt. Check out the DC
Yeah,
United latest merch store. We are
Put it
making
on a
that a
shirt.
T-shirt. Sell the team or open your checkbooks. Check that out at the store. Yeah. I'm gonna pause real quick.
Yep.
All right, going on to our next topic. Olsen, you know how we talked about in the past episodes. It has happened as of right now.
Wooden
DC United is in last place.
Yep.
Now, DC United's in last place. I haven't seen so much. I haven't seen that many likes on our Instagram post that quickly.
I noticed that too. Everybody, it's like the most popular post.
I think I posted that. I think I posted it after the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, after the match ended, it was late,
yeah.
and we were last. And I instantly was like 20 likes, 30 likes,
Mm-hmm.
and it kept going up.
Boom.
Right. But DC United is now last. Wooden spoon. We still don't have a forfeit yet, Olsen. We still gotta. We still. I didn't think this was close. I didn't want to.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's gonna come down to the Montreal game this weekend.
Yep.
I think that's gonna decide. That can decide a lot of it.
Definitely.
Like if they beat us, then it's over. We're wooden spoon like confirmed.
Wooden spoon confirmed.
And also St. Louis won this past weekend, so they also passed us in the supporter shield. So we're second to last now. We're only in front of the Galaxy. And the Galaxy, they're starting to get their form back, so they could easily go above us in 2 or 3 weeks.
Man, this is scary.
It's scary.
Is this officially the worst season DC United has had?
Honestly, yeah.
I'm gonna say yes.
I mean, yes. You can see. I mean, you say 2013, but we won the US Open Cup.
We won a cup.
That's a positive. This season got no positives.
Exactly. We won a cup. We have no positives.
That was the last time we won a cup.
Yeah.
In Jordan Farr.
Except Jordan Farr. That's a positive, right?
Signing of the season, I think.
Let the glaze continue. Jordan Farr glaze.
Yes.
Keeps going. But yeah, let's a quick shout out before we're about to get into our little interview with Tony Alfaro. But before we get that, I want to give a special thank you from Olsen and I. 2 milestones that we've reached. The DC United latest Instagram has officially hit 3 years.
Yes, sir.
And that is surreal to me because when I started the DC United latest Instagram, I kind of started it because whenever I wanted to, because I was I love DC United so much. Olsen and I were born into this team. Yes, we've been supporters since we were babies, right? When I would see online, I would see no news. I always saw how, like, for example, big teams like FC Barcelona, Arsenal have like these news accounts that give rumors and give, early stuff and gives me all the information that the teams don't really give you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason why I decided to start DC United latest, because I wanted to give people that sort of outlet, and so I could also find my way in and look at these things. And that's when, Olsen's been with me since the beginning. We've been doing this, especially now with the United Weekly podcast. So please, everybody, go ahead and follow the United Weekly podcast. I think, are we almost at 100 followers on that on Instagram?
Oh, we got 80 at the moment.
80?
So we're getting there.
So everyone, please go check out the United Weekly podcast on Instagram. The handle is United Weekly _podcast on Instagram. And another milestone we'd like to share: DC United latest Instagram has hit 500 followers. The big 500. Halfway to 1,000.
Halfway to 1K. That's crazy.
Halfway to 1K. So please, I'm from Olsen and I, we're super thankful to everyone who's been with us since the beginning and been with us this entire time. We really appreciate you. Trust me, we wouldn't be doing this without you guys. You guys are the reason why we decided to keep doing this, and why Olsen and I are always looking into the news, the transfer, the rumors, and we're cranking out graphics and post at middle of the night just
Mhm.
so we can be the latest news and be that number one news source
Yeah.
that we promise to you guys.
Yes, sir.
Um, so yeah, Olsen, anything you want to say?
Just again, thank you everybody. We wouldn't be doing this podcast without y'all either. So thank you to everybody who's helped grow this community. Gotten it big enough to the point where now we started this podcast. We've already gained a pretty good following on it, and we're going to continue to do that. And we appreciate everybody's support.
Perfect. So yeah, thank you to everybody. But going on to our next segment, the biggest anticipation of this episode, our chat with Tony Alfaro. So please, everybody, let's get on to that. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this. We have Mr. Tony Alfaro here joining us with this exclusive interview, I guess, with United Weekly. Tony, we're super excited to have you on the show, our first pro player joining us for the podcast. So thank you
Yeah,
for
thank you
coming on to the
guys.
show.
No, thank you guys for having me.
All right, so we have a couple of questions for you, Tony. Some of them Olsen and I have come up with, and we have a couple that our viewers and from our followers from Instagram have sent us to ask you. So why don't we get started? Olsen, do you want to start us off?
Let's go.
Yep. So my first question comes from me. Is there any particular game or moment that you had in your time at DC United that stands out to you? Sort of like a favorite moment that you have with your time at the club?
I mean, kind of a hard question because I had a lot of good times,
Yeah.
but I think it was season 2021.
Mm-hmm.
We were actually playing Montreal, I think. I don't I don't know why it's one of my favorite games, but I just remember we actually won. We won 2-1. We were down 1-0 at half, but we came back and we won the game. Um, I don't know. That game for me was just there was just so much energy in the game. Like the fans from the team, like everybody was just super, super excited, super emotional, and I think for me that was one of my favorite moments there.
That's
Okay. Yeah.
that's pretty cool. Olsen, do you remember that? Do you remember that game? I'm trying
Yeah, I briefly remember watching it. I think
to.
I was only 12 years old at the time. I think so.
Oh wow.
But yeah, no, we remember, remember you, Olsen and I definitely remember when you came onto the team. We remember you from your time at, I believe it was Seattle, right? Uh, and, we saw you when you started playing on the team. We really we'd always talk, Olsen and I would always talk about you, how you really good defender. You brought the fire, the passion
Yes,
and to
sir.
the back line. Something I feel like we need today. So, if I could, I would let the owner know to see if we can get you back. But
Well, please do me the favor and let them know.
Yeah.
trust me, I will put a good word in for you. Um,
Thank you.
so I have one of my questions for you is, what was your first thought when you got the call and you were told that you were going to go play for DC United?
Um, well, first of all, I was very. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Sorry. Okay.
Okay. Um, that was very emotional just because right when I got that call, it had been almost 4 months, 4 or 5 months since I had last played a game, and because before that year I played USL in Reno. And the team had actually folded, so I didn't know. I was still waiting, looking for a team, training and doing everything I could to find something. So when the call finally came, I I almost broke down crying just because it was more of an emotional thing for me because of everything that I was going through at the moment. Um, but I was super excited. I mean, once I got the call, I was on a plane like 2 days later. No hesitation. I packed my bags and I left. So I was super excited, um, just to to get to DC. Started training with the team, did preseason and things like that. And I think right from the first day, I felt really, really welcome, really comfortable with the team, and um, I think the guys did a very good job of helping me adjust to the team and welcome me and stuff like that. So I think that for me was very big. So that was the beginning of something of the good start of a new chapter in my life for sure.
That's really nice. That's really good to hear that. We don't really,
Yeah,
fans don't really like know about that from the players, like the emotional aspect of you playing for a team that was folded and then getting that call and coming to DC. And I'm glad that DC United was able to give you that warm welcome and made you feel comfortable from the beginning. And I speak from I don't know if I can speak for Olsen, but the fans, we all appreciated you, what you've done for the club, what you did for the team in those games, and any game that you
yeah,
played for us, you helped us out a lot.
yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It was. I wish I could go back, to be honest.
We definitely need with some help in defense right now. So,
Hmm.
hi, Olsen, you want to go with your next question?
Yep. So, at your time at DC United, were there any, or are there any teammates or coaches or any of the technical staff that some of the most influential? Who do you think were the most influential players that guy, I guess, left an impact on the player you are today?
Um, well, there was a few, to be honest. Well, my time there, we had it was mostly built up of an Argentinian staff because we had Hernan Losada as a coach
Yep.
and his assistant Nicolas Frutos, and then the strength coach, which was Victor, um, which we're still good friends. But I think more than anything, it was Victor and Nico that were just huge, for my. I think I was closer to him just because he was more on the field. He was our assistant, so we would talk daily, talk about whatever it was, life, soccer, tactics, strategy, anything. He was always willing to help me out with that. And for that, like, I'm super grateful. Um, well, also we had he's Argentinian. I was
I
there
think we may have.
at the time, and I still have few years. So yeah, Agustina. So she was really big for my mental and like my mental development and things like that. She's been a huge impact since I met her. Um, in terms of my teammates, I mean, I have a few. At the time we had a lot of like Latinos, so Latinos always kind of
Hmm.
you know um, come together, form their group, help each other out. But we had so many. Um, One guy that I think was very on a deeper level, I think, that helped me out with a lot of things mentally and on the day to day was Chris O'Doy.
Okay.
Do you guys
I think we may have cut out.
can
Can
you
you
hear
hear
me?
us? Yes, we can. I think
Yeah,
Yeah,
you cut
cutting
out
out a little
after
bit.
the
Yeah.
Chris O'Doy.
yeah. So Chris was one of the guys that um he was just big time influence on me because his situation, um his illness that he had, and all the things he overcame. And he was just one of the guys that was always in the locker room, good day, bad day. He was always smiling. We were always joking. It was almost like that kid was bulletproof. Like nothing phased him. So for me, it was one of the things that I most admired about him. His enthusiasm, his personality, just the way he was as a player. So for me, he was very. I think also when, let's see, the following year when Wayne became our coach, Wayne Rooney, and he brought over one of his assistants, Peter. Um, he was, for me, I don't know what it is with me and assistants, but they're just he was also super big on my development, you know.
Yeah, that's
And
just
this is a guy that has coached, in England and big players and been in big moments. Um, yeah, what were you saying?
no. Sorry, I was just saying it's good to hear that you had so many people as like that the team itself brought had a lot of people that were able to support you and be there to not al- not always on the field, but talks that you need to have off the field on the mental aspect of soccer. And especially you talked about Odi Atsan, where what he went through, which was very a big obstacle to overcome. And for you to
Yeah,
tell us that he was always positive and enthusiastic is nice to hear that that the team was had that sort of more of like a family aspect when Losada was on the coaching
yeah,
staff as well. But yeah,
yeah. It was yeah. A lot of guys. I'm like Andy. I know Rafa. The goalie was there. Junior, even Russell Canals.
Mhm.
Just a lot of guys. Where I really can't begin. They all kind of just share some light, like who they are as a person, and that for me, I think has always been the biggest thing for me in my career is meeting these type of people that make an influence outside of the field,
Yeah.
and it's also people that share a little bit about their lives and their families and things like that. So that's always that's always a good thing to have in teammates.
No, yeah, definitely. You're 100% right. It's
Yeah,
you know you can't a team will play better when they're more it's more of like a brotherhood and you guys are more
yeah,
connected and
yeah, for sure.
the chemistry is there. That's really good to hear about
Yeah,
the brotherhood you guys had.
yeah,
And
it's cool to hear these
Yeah,
perspectives
yeah,
about what you know.
yeah. I know sometimes people probably just see like the players like on the field and stuff
Yeah.
and they don't really know much, but there's a
Mhm.
lot that goes on, in the locker rooms and trainings and on the day to day. There's just a lot that goes on.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to hear that side of, a soccer team.
Yeah, for
It's
sure, for sure.
always nice to hear about that especially from the player's perspective. What
Yeah,
it's like being a player there, the life of a player.
yeah. It's because
yeah,
as a fans, we only see, like you said, we only see the players on the field. We see
Mhm.
what is brought out in the news outlets, but we never really see what actually is going on in the locker room during practices, and stuff like that. But yeah, it's really nice to hear that stuff.
yeah. Agree.
Uh, All right, my question. We have another question coming from one of our followers on the DC United latest Instagram.
Yeah.
They said, looking back at your DC United days, was there ever a moment when you felt the club wasn't living up to its potential, and if so, what would you have done differently if you were in charge?
Um, yes, I think this moment came in 2022 when Hernan he got let go, and
Mhm.
then the interim that took over, which was Chad. Um, so let me just break it down. So it was Hernan got let go. Chad took over for, I don't know what it was, a couple weeks, maybe a month, and
Yeah,
then uh, and then Wayne Rooney came over. I think halfway through the season or something. Um, so that year was just, it was difficult in the locker room because at some point we had we almost had three different coaching staffs from when we first started the beginning of the year, you know.
yeah,
Um, so Hernan got let go, and typically, when you you get fired or whatever, you move on, then it's the coach, the assistants, and even the strength coaches, because they're kind of just like one, you know.
Hmm.
So when he got let go, Nico stayed, which I didn't have a problem with him staying. Um, so then it was Chad, Nico, and I don't know who else was there, but that was two different staffs already. And then when Wayne came over, and he brought Peter, and then Fred Briant was also part of our staff
Yeah.
towards the end of or midway through the season, I think, or Chad brought him on. Chad brought him along. So it was just kind of, I felt like there was too many different ideas or philosophies that kind of were that they tried to implement on the team, but it was too much. Our team was breaking down. We weren't getting results. Um, Not necessarily because of the players, but I think there was just a lot of confusion on what was wanted from us, and the leadership wasn't always there from that side. Not because they were bad people or they didn't know how to coach, but there was just too many people at the time.
Yeah, that's
Um, so if I
understandable.
Yeah, so if I could change, one of the things was try and keep more of a stable staff, I guess, or coaching staff in a way. There was just too many people that were on board, you know. I think we
Mhm.
had like three or four assistants, one head coach, but prior to that, one of them was like the right hand man to the coach. Then he became like the third or fourth assistant, and it was just a lot of good people. Don't get me wrong, a lot of good knowledge that was there, but it was very hard for the guys to kind of understand what direction we wanted to go.
Yeah, I definitely, yeah, no, that definitely sounds a lot like very hectic, and that's kind of been, how DC United, what DC, the point of conversation for DC United is that the coaching staff has changed so much over the years.
Hmm.
Going from Losada to Rooney, and then to Troy, and then now we've let go of Troy, and now we're getting a new coach with Rene Weiler. So
Yeah.
hearing that, I could also, just all that like hecticness of different ideas, different people coming in and going. I could definitely see that. That's a tough thing on the players because different ideas of playing soccer, different game styles of coaching, and coaching styles.
Yeah, and I mean it's one of the things, because ever since I got there, and even until now, uh there's always a lot of changes, even towards the end of the year, where they let go of a lot of guys. Um, and it's always like, how do you build on something when you're letting go half of the team? You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that's pretty tough. I understand there's the business side of it, but I mean, from like a fan perspective, and we're looking for results, but how do you do that? I mean, you're not going to do that by getting rid of half of your team every year, and as far as I can
hmm,
remember, like, a lot of guys get let go all the time. I remember the time that I got let go where my option wasn't picked up. It was maybe like 12 or 13 of us that didn't get our option exercised, and we're let go. So you're talking about half of the team already.
hmm.
Um, so it's always tough, and I mean, those decisions are beyond what we can comprehend, because it's business or whatever it may be.
Yeah, we've talked about that on previous episodes before of how many players they let go at the end of every season. It's just rebuild
Hmm.
after rebuild. We've talked about it many times.
Yeah. Yeah, there's really no consistency in the team for that reason. Think about it. I mean, I think, if I try to understand it, I think they're looking at it like, oh, we'll keep the core, like the core group, but that doesn't always, it's beneficial, but it doesn't always help, in a sense that, okay, those people that stay, then they have to do their best to integrate the guys that are coming on board. you know,
Mhm.
as
Yeah.
Yeah,
opposed to, I
exactly.
think on a team there's always going to be, the guys that are playing, the guys that are not playing, and then the guys in the middle, the guys that play sometimes, the guys that don't play sometimes. So how do you work to keep everybody on the same boat? You know, to keep motivating or to keep helping out the guys that are not playing, because those are the guys that typically at the end of the season, they're going to help finish a season strong. Those are the guys that you're going to have to rely on when guys that have been playing ton of minutes early on in the season are starting to burn out, you know? So it's
Hmm.
like, how do you maintain that? And you can't, because if you get rid of those guys, then you have to do the next year, you have to do the following thing all over again. So it's the start of a new cycle, and it's kind of hard to keep going year after year.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's definitely,
Yeah.
that's certainly good to hear, your perspective on it as a player, going through that. And like Olsen said, we talked about how a team can't succeed with a rebuild every single year. You can't rebuild every single year and just
Yeah,
get rid of those guys and bringing new people in without keeping. It's like you said, it's tough to keep that same, to integrate the culture and this, that brotherhood that you guys had from the previous team.
for sure.
Um, but yeah, that's definitely, good. I really appreciate your perspective on that.
Of course.
Olsen, do you want to?
Yeah, I'll read the next question from another fan. He asked, "What is a current DC United player that you like to play with, if any?"
A current,
Yeah, current DC United player that you would like to play with.
um, well, the keeper for one, Huicho, Luis Barraza. I mean, we played
Yes.
together in New York City, so I would like to play with him again.
Yeah.
um, I also did play with Christian Benteke, so super great guy, great person, great teammate. So it'd be nice to play with him again. Um, yeah,
Yes. Yeah. We were talking about
Yeah.
that. That past one. I didn't think about that. That you and Barasa did play together in New York.
yeah.
And do you guys still have, a good relationship, together, or?
Yeah. We talk every now and then. We message each other, or whenever I'm in DC or even New York, because he hangs out in New or he was there for a long time, so he has a lot of friends.
Mhm.
Um, we'll hang out. When we're in DC. I think this last off season, when he was barely first moving, um, we hung out when he was there. He was looking for a place and things like that. So we're definitely still in touch.
That's definitely good. Maybe, I was going to say we've talked about Barasa a lot of Richo on this podcast a lot, saying that he's basically like the only good positive part of our defense as of right now. He's this guy makes crazy saves, and coming from where he wasn't the starter at the beginning of the season, and then he fought for his position back, and then kept that position is really cool, and he's definitely our best keeper for DC United at the moment. So, it's
Yeah.
maybe we should. And that's what I'm saying. We got to let the owner know to let Tony, for you to come back. You have the connection with Barasa. The chemistry will
Yeah.
be there.
I mean, I'm super happy for Wicho because I remember when we were in New York together and he started off as number one.
Mhm.
Um, Results didn't go our way, but I mean, this guy is making crazy saves, like unbelievable saves that you're like, dude, it wasn't by any means his fault that we were losing games or that we weren't winning. It's just, sometimes coaches decide, something needs to change. And unfortunately, he was one of those changes. But I mean, now I'm happy for him that he's taking on that starting role. I knew he would eventually as soon as he got his chance. I mean, this guy is unreal. Even with his feet, he's one of the best goalkeepers I've seen with his feet. So in terms of now modern soccer, the way teams like to play, building out of the back, playing with the goalkeeper. I mean, this guy's a no-brainer for sure.
Yeah, no, he's a beast. He's a beast in the goal.
Mhm.
This guy.
Yeah,
Oh,
for sure.
but yeah, that's great. So that was all the questions that we actually had for you. We really appreciate your
Cool.
answers, and then your thoughts. It was really good to get your perspective from a player,
Of course.
especially
Thank you.
going through that time. where we went through multiple the coaching changes from the interim coach from Losada to interim coach and then to Rooney.
Yeah,
So we really appreciate you coming on to the show.
Yes.
for sure.
Olsen, anything you want to say?
Just thank you. We appreciate being given the opportunity to interview a former player. It's the first professional player we got on here.
Well,
So it's an honor.
thank you guys for giving me the opportunity. I appreciate it.
No, yeah, of course. And everybody who's watching, thank you guys for watching. Please follow Tony on all his socials, and then let the owners know to bring him back to DC. I think we could definitely help. He could definitely help us out in the back line.
Yes, please.
All right, thank you everybody watching. That's going to conclude today's episode. Thank you, Tony.
Yeah,
all right.
Tony.
All right, guys, that concludes, the episode and the interview we had with Tony Alfaro. I don't know about you, Olsen, but I'm super excited. I was super intrigued of what he had to say.
Yeah, that was awesome. It's cool to hear, kind of like we said, all those perspectives of what the player life is like. At least was like. It's definitely not the same anymore, but what it was like at DC.
Yeah,
and to hear all the relationships he's had with his teammates and the coaches, and how he got through the struggles with all the coaching changes. Back in 2022, that was a horrible year for the club as a whole. But still, again, so cool to hear all that.
Yeah, no, definitely, and it's something that he pointed out. Something that I didn't really think about is during the coaching changes, the effect that puts on the player, like toll that puts out on the players. Going through that stuff and different people. He said people coming and going. A lot of he said 4 to 6 assistants.
Yeah.
And then one day that assistant would be the right-hand man, but then it'd become the third in command for the assistants. Like, that's just insanely difficult to be able to know who to go to and know who to listen to, right?
Yeah, I never really thought about that either. It sort of widens your perspective on it,
Yeah, no, definitely. It definitely widens my perspective. It makes me think about, our situation that we have now, right?
Yeah.
With this interim coach. And this could mean, I'm not fully saying it's that, but this could be one of the reasons why the team is struggling so much.
Mm-hmm.
This new coaching philosophy going from Troy Lesane to now our interim head coach, Flanagan, right? But anyways, we'll definitely I definitely want to get into that more next episode. So everyone, we've run out of time for today's episode. Hopefully, we didn't want to go back to the 2-hour episode that we had last time with DC UK, even though that was a great episode to hear.
That was a good episode,
But I hope everyone enjoyed this episode. We are always trying to get any DC United player, ex-DC United player to join the podcast to get their insights so you guys can hear their thoughts and stuff. And, we really thank you to Tony for coming on the show and, taking time out of his busy schedule to come join this podcast that, we're still a small podcast. We're still working on things, but, thank you to him. Tony, if you're watching, thank you. Apologies for, there was some internet issues over there, but I hope you guys were able to get his message clearly. And yeah, Olsen, anything?
Thank you again, everybody. Thank you to Tony. Thank you to everybody who's watching right now. Again, like I say every time, each and every single one of you matters. We're still starting out, trying to grow this community. So, yeah, thank you all, and we'll see you next episode.
Yep. See you next episode. Sorry this was technically your United chat. Olsen, I'm sorry. We missed your favorite. Your favorite one. Olsen's MLS rundown. We're gonna
table hasn't changed too much.
Table hasn't changed, except we're wooden spoon. We're last. We suck.
Yeah, that's the only.
Man, we got to text the owner. Bring Tony Alfaro back to DC.
Yeah, man.
Bring that fire. Bring that passion. Put the captain's band on him. Let's make that happen.
Yeah, man. We could use him, man.
We could use him. Anything could help in our defense. And Tony Alfaro, the clips I've seen, he's still that same Tony Alfaro that we had. A baller, a beast on the defense, on the back end, on the back line. So, yep. Thank you, everybody, for watching this episode. We'll catch you next Wednesday. Peace.
Peace.